to the Patrick Regan Show here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network and locally on News Talk 98.7 WOKI. Kind of jumping right into this segment. Got a lot to get to here in this really short segment, but one thing I want to mention real quick. One of the perils of living in a free society is that someone is going to be trying to take away your freedom. Just look at history. The ink wasn't even dry on the Constitution, and Congress was looking for ways around it, doing things that weren't authorized. And we had our war against the British for our independence, and we won. Now, it seems like there's a segment of our country who thinks this is the only way to bring about change in our government as well. And I'll just address this straight up, just like I do everything else on this show. If you think you're going to war against the government of the United States, well, you're just going to lose. You aren't going to have the support of the rest of the population of this country. Well, that's fine, Patrick. If I have to go down fighting, then so be it. Really? You do realize no one is going to remember what you did in a year or so. It isn't going to rally people to your cause. If anything, it's going to drive people away from your ideas and play right into the government's hands. The talking heads will all say, see, these people talking about obeying the Constitution are all anti-government. They're all crazy, and you can't trust them. Do you notice how you'll be doing more harm than good for the cause of getting back our freedom and liberty? Fighting the government head-on isn't going to work. You have to defeat it with your votes, your participation, getting good people into office. And no, it won't be easy. Do you think winning our independence from England was easy? Do you think the outcome was always assured? Well, of course not. But we continue to fight for independence. And fast forward to today, our weapon now is the vote, not the gun. We had to use guns against England because we didn't have the vote. That restricted who could fight because, well, you have to be able to aim. You have to have ammunition. You have to be able to shoot and kill another human being. It's so much easier now. All you have to do is go vote. That's it. Vote. That, and make sure everyone you know votes as well. There isn't any camping in the woods. There's no hiding from enemy patrols, no taking your life into your own hands and walking into battle. All you have to do is vote. You have it so much easier than the patriots who originally fought for our independence. So much easier, yet a lot of you don't go do it. Or you don't make sure your friends are voting. And there's simply no excuse for it. Look, the majority of this country believes as we do. Every time the majority turns out to vote, the more conservative of the candidates gets into office. When those people sit at home because they aren't happy with the candidates, the more liberal candidate gets in. That's why I say over and over, even last week, get out and vote even if you're voting third party. No matter whether you think that party has a shot or not. By casting your vote for that candidate, you're lending credibility to the arguments they made on the campaign trail. And if enough people are voting for them, the two major parties will start leaning in that third party's direction. Just look at how libertarianism is starting to infiltrate the conversation in this country today. The political establishment's attacking it. Conservative politicians and commentators are now all of a sudden seeing the light. If these ideas weren't starting to catch on, well, no one would bother acknowledging them. Well, I'm just going to wait for government to collapse. Things are going to be even worse then. Then we're talking about martial law, and the government has plenty of weapons to quell any dissent. Don't think for a second they won't use them on their fellow citizens. If you think differently, just ask the people in Waco. And these people will all say, well, I have a bunch of guns and ammunition. I'll take care of anyone who wants to step foot on my property. Well, yes, and you may go down fighting, but you're going to go down. No two ways about it. Instead of letting it get to that, though, why don't we do this? Why don't we participate in government and get things changed? Let's get this turned around now so we don't get to that situation then. Do you know what happens if we go the other way? If the government is out killing these people, making their last stands against tyranny? We're killing off all the patriots who have a backbone and will stand up against oppression. Then we're left with a compliant population, which is exactly what the government wants. By going that route, you're just helping them. A much better plan is to harness all this energy being spent in getting ready to fight the government in this last big battle and start getting good people elected to government. if we spent half of that energy and time going to political party meetings, campaigning for candidates, heck, even running yourself, and make that proud and courageous stand in Congress, just like we're seeing with a lot of these Tea Party people, we'd have no problem electing good people to office then. That's all we have to do is get out there and vote for them. All of this other stuff, well, yes, you need to defend yourself. You need to defend your property. But going about it that way, in my opinion, is not the best way to do it, because we're not going to make a permanent change to this country, and our children and our grandchildren demand that we do. We don't want them having to fight the government, so let's get this changed now so they don't have to. All right, unfortunately, we're out of time here on the Patrick Riggins Show. If you want more information about us, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Patrick Riggins Show. And if you want our archives, they're at youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. And if you want to email me, again, patrickrigginshow@gmail.com. Hey, remember, liberty begins with you. It's in your mind. Don't forget that as you go throughout this week. Join me next Saturday afternoon at 4, where we'll be fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.
Read dozens of books about heroes and crooks, and I learned much from both of their styles.
Join us again next week for a solid dose of truth on the Patrick Riggins Show. Be there.